did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me, I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. It is another Welcome Wednesday right here on the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. So glad to have you guys with us. And we got a jam-packed show. You guys know we got some recurring guests that come on Wednesdays. We got a lot of stuff that we're doing. So I want to make sure I get right to it with my co-host with the most, Big O. What up, Big O?
Trey Holiday. What's happening?
Hey, welcome Wednesday, my friend.
Yeah, I'm celebrating Black History Month here. Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Wednesday.
Yeah, ain't nothing to mess with.
We had Tupac Tuesday, Wu-Tang Wednesday. I'm with it.
Yeah, come on, man. I got 28 of these. You know what I'm saying? You'll see it. Good morning, man. You're looking great today, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I'm representing, Central District right here. You know what I'm saying?
Central District.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There it is. We got a great show lined up for you today. Lots of guests. So we're gonna, you're gonna see me talking fast this morning so we can get to everybody. We're gonna be joined by Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald. Then also the twins, the Factorz, Ronald and Ronell Moore in the building. Brian Callanan, he was in the booth of truth the last time we talked to him. He's here in studio today. He had a conversation with your guy over in your district, Jesse Johnson, talking about the police bills in Olympia. So Brian's going to give us an update on that. And we got Fynniecko Glover Jr., Rainier Beach Economic Roundtable. right? Okay, I got it. But Fynniecko looking sharp over here today.
I'm
Boy,
so-
you're looking good. Boy, I remember when you were this high. Huh? You're looking great. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to remind you right now, tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show. This is good. You know, people stuck in traffic, all that stuff. Anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast, there's SoundCloud right there, but also Google, Spotify, iTunes, some everything else. More COVID news. We're not going to dive into it today, but letting people know that we got a link there in the comments. Salman's putting there from Public Health, Seattle, King County. If you want to get vaccinated, if you need a booster shot, if you need testing, or you know what, if you still got some questions, if you're vaccine hesitant, that's okay. That link right there, and get a lot of information, get a lot of stuff done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all comprehensive. And at this point, that's what a lot of us need. So please click that link and get informed, y'all.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also covidtest.gov. So for people, if you want to get a test, since the state ran out of test. They just read up though. You know what I'm saying? They're running out, they're running out. People are on this testing. Let's see what, this is the last day. Let's go ahead and put this up here. This is For Culture. Today is the absolute last day. For Culture got $1,000 to $12,000 for cultural producers out there. Hey, man, we've been doing our part by raising awareness, but now, today's the last day. People got to get this in.
Yeah, do a big push. I mean, again, if you know people that are out there that are doing this kind of work and need these resources, lots of folks out there that as cultural producers were hit hard by COVID, make sure they have this information last day, y'all.
All right, throw this in here real quick, too. I skipped over KEXP, the internship. There it is. We'll put that link in the comments as well, KEXP.org/interns. Man, 4 paid internships, $22 an hour. Man, if you have an interest in live booking, radio production, social media, audio production, KEXP, check that out. I mean, it's a great experience, a world-class operation.
Yeah, and a great opportunity for you to really get your hands on, get those skill sets, build up your portfolio with the work that you could do there. It's just a great opportunity all around. Shout out to KEXP.
Yeah, no, for sure. Got a handcrafted motion graphic right here. It's coming in hot. Mike Davis. He's a reporter with the South Seattle Emerald, also co-host of Clapback Culture. Mr. Salman, please bring in Mike Davis.
Hey, what's up?
There he is.
Welcome Wednesday, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here with y'all.
All right, good stuff, Mike. So, you're very opinionated as usual, and that's why Clapback Culture is really off the hook. You don't even have to be opinionated to get a reaction to this right here, man. Ted Cruz, he's got his show. It's The Verdict with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz made some interesting statements the other day about Biden making a promise that he was going to select a black woman for the Supreme Court.
Biden, the fact that he's willing to make a promise at the outset that it must be a black woman, I got to say that's offensive.
Right.
Black women are 6% of the U.S. population. He's saying to 94% of Americans, I don't give a damn about you. You are ineligible. And he's also saying it's actually an insult to black women. If he came and said, I'm going to put the best jurist on the court, and he looked at a number of people and he ended up nominating a black woman, he could credibly say, okay, I'm nominating the person who's most qualified. He's not even pretending to say that. He's saying, if you're a white guy, tough luck. If you're a white woman, tough luck. You don't qualify.
Here we go, Mike. Let me hear your thoughts on this, bruh.
I mean, it's hard not to laugh because Ted Cruz is a joke. I mean, this is the same man who allowed Donald Trump to call his wife ugly on the campaign trail, and then all of a sudden he's chummy, buddy, let's all follow Trump. I mean, this is a man with no integrity. But to his comments specifically, it's always interesting to me how white folks get so charged up anytime an opportunity gets marked specifically for a black person, because why does saying that hiring a black woman to be a judge automatically mean that it's going to be someone unqualified? There are actually a lot of black women who are very qualified to be on the Supreme Court. But let's talk about people who aren't qualified. What about Amy Coney Barrett? what was her qualifications? And where was Ted Cruz when she got appointed? She had never been a judge. She had never been a prosecutor. And in private practice, they could only find 3 cases that she had ever actually worked on. That is the epitome of someone being hired for a job that wasn't qualified. But because she's a white woman, because she takes the Republican stance on abortion, and because she was appointed by Trump, nobody had anything to say about this person that wasn't qualified getting this opportunity. But as soon as Biden mentions that he wants to give this opportunity to a black woman, you got people like Ted Cruz coming out the woodworks talking about this means that they're going to be unqualified. I mean, it's an anti-black statement to make when you assume that because this is going to go to a black woman, that she's going to be unqualified for the job.
You know what, Mike, you are mentioning some really great points there. And I love the example that you gave there of the other judge who was clearly not qualified. But, for me, this is exactly, it goes back to, this white uncomfortability. We're seeing it when we're talking about critical race theory. We're seeing it in a multitude of ways. And this is another example of it, right? The ideas of any way that people are being intentional to diversify a space like the Supreme Court. And then you have somebody like Ted Cruz responding like this. I agree with your comments 100%. And I also think it goes to show that this uncomfortability we're seeing in terms of, hey, we have to break the nugget here and actually start speaking the truth. Our country has never really cared for all of its citizens. And as we make intentional decisions and bold moves to do so, it's almost always met with this kind of rhetoric, Mike. And so, you know what? I read this, and just like you, I was like, this is a joke. Like, who's taking this seriously? But the problem is Ted Cruz has a platform, and so there's people that are listening to this. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, there's a lot. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
No, Trey is absolutely right. And, I laugh because, like I said, it's just so ridiculous. But the problem is there's a lot of people in this country that think just like Ted Cruz. And when he says things like this, they believe him. And I think that it's very intentional that he made the point in his own words. You're telling the white guys you're not going to get this job. Like, white men have found this way to be so threatened in every situation. Yet when you look at the history of Supreme Court judges in the United States of America, what is the percentage of white men that held that office? I mean, it's usually always them. They have all the opportunities, yet they look for any little nook and cranny of oppression that they can bring to the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, Cruz is wild, and this is just the way that any presidency. When you think about it, Biden said that he was going to select somebody, Native American. You got Deb Haaland over there, who is the Secretary of the Interior, which also the Bureau of Indian Affairs is under. So imagine this whole time, there's never been anybody Native who ran the Interior over there. I mean, these people don't like change. I mean, it's just clear, and it's not. It's the America that they envision, and then there's the America that really is. Mike Davis, before we let you go, we'll take a minute or two here, man. Tell us what we can expect tomorrow night on Clapback Culture.
Oh man, we got a lot. As a matter of fact, we got so much on tap right now that we're going to have to cut some stuff out. So I don't want to mention anything that's not going to make it. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about these bomb threats that we're seeing at HBCUs. We're going to dive into Whoopi Goldberg saying that the Holocaust had nothing to do with race. But similar to this conversation that we're having right now, I think one of the bigger topics we're going to discuss is former Dolphins coach in the NFL, Brian Flores. He's suing the NFL right now for racial discrimination in hiring practices. And this goes really right along with what we're saying about Ted Cruz. The NFL right now, about 70% of the players are black, yet there is only one black head coach. Historically speaking, black head coaches have actually had higher win percentages than white head coaches. And in this lawsuit with Brian Flores, of course, it's the Rooney Rule is going to be cited, a rule that forces teams to have minorities be a part of hiring practices when they have head coaching positions open. But in the case of the New York Giants, they decided who they were going to hire even before the black man got his chance at the interview. The whole thing is a sham. He's going to shed light on it, and we're definitely going to dive into that on Clapback tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes. It's ill what people are saying. It was funny. I was watching a news report earlier, and I forget the reporter, sports reporter, a black woman, and she was like, "Yeah, everybody's shocked by this lawsuit except black people." you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's cold. And one of the allegations that he's making is that the owner of the Dolphins told him that he would pay him $100,000 per loss. You know what I'm saying? So they could lose, so they could get a better draft pick. I mean, it's.
There's always some stuff that's going on, man. On the undercurrent, man.
We need to be guests on Clap. I'd be ready to get into all of this, man. When you guys gonna invite us on Clapback, man?
Yeah, the invitation for you two it's always open. Say the word. We're gonna have y'all on.
All right, Mike Davis, co-host of Clapback Culture, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. How can people keep up with you, Mike?
South Seattle Emerald. You will find me where you find the Emerald. But Thursday night, 7:00, I'm right here with Jules Jesse, Clapback Culture. Check us out.
All right, Mike. Have a wonderful day.
Great to see you, Mike.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
Yo, this I'm trying to see who's still gonna be singing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you know they got a whole black lineup for the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I guess it's whatever. People still thinking like we've moved past cap and all this because there's end racism in the end zone. And so now all these guys signed up and they singing at the Super Bowl, dancing all in the video. It's going to be interesting how this plays out.
No, it really is. And I think when it comes to sports and athletics in our country, there's such a heavy emphasis on it that anytime there's these waves of racial discrimination and certain things start to come to light, I think it really opens our eyes to what we're actually seeing all the time play out. I talked to my son about this as he goes, and has been dedicating so much of his time to basketball. I'm like, let's be real about this game. And let's be real about this kind of $1 million slave mentality, man. Like, let's just be real about it. Let's talk about it and really be open.
You got to remember that it's like sports has been is one of the biggest ways that America was like integrated in a larger sense, right? You know what I'm saying? And and when you talk about football, let's talk about college football. Alabama, Bear Bryant, all these guys, these SEC schools, man, they wasn't trying to integrate their schools. But they started playing these teams from the West Coast that had black players, and they was just getting outran on the field. And that's what led to integration down there at these schools, because they wanted to be more competitive on the football field, not because black people were equal or just and all these other kinds of things. It came to a result on the field. And, a lot of that, I think a lot of that mentality is very much still there. And, the NFL can't shake it. So they were talking about, well, the NFL, they're giving $250 million to social justice causes. They put in racism in the end zone. They got a lift every voice and sing. It's like, oh, man, that's probably stuff you should have already been doing, and I think that's just a surface level, but there's a much deeper issue in the NFL.
Well, I'm going to use your term here. Oh, we're always talking about the chicken dinner. And I just got to tell you that when I hear things like that, man, we're over it. We're over the chicken dinner. I'm so glad that this lawsuit is coming to bear and that we're actually going to be able to see how it plays out, because again, there's so many tactics that are going on behind the scenes, man. This is going to bring a lot of that to light, bruh.
Cold world, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's see. Next up here after this break, we got the twins. It's Ronell Moore and twin brother right there, Ronald Moore, the Factorz. They're going to join us, give us a preview of what they're going to be talking about on Factorz TV tomorrow night. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey y'all, T-Dub here, letting you know about another art funding opportunity. For culture recovery funding for individuals is available now, and here's what you need to know to apply. Are you a cultural producer who has been impacted by the pandemic? If you answered yes, but what is a cultural producer? Well, you are a cultural producer if your work, paid or unpaid, is dedicated to creating cultural experiences in any discipline or at any stage of your career. Some examples include exhibit designers, museums educations, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, history researchers, artists, of course, and more. In understanding that grant language can sometimes feel exclusive to specific people, using terms like cultural producer is one of the ways For Culture seeks to broaden its scope of applicants. In other words, this funding is for you. And look, the application fatigue is real. I get it, they get it. But the For Culture staff is here to walk you through it. They have grants from $1,000 to $12,000, so please don't miss out. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Mr. Director, please bring in Ronald and Ronell Moore.
Yo.
What's good, bro?
Trey, what's going on?
Trey, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey, good to be with y'all on Welcome Wednesday.
Appreciate it.
Good morning. Top of it.
All right, so the Factorz TV is up and running strong. You know what I'm saying? We're going into episode 7 that's coming out tomorrow night at 9 p.m. right here on Converge. And these guys have been getting a lot of traction. They've been getting a lot of traction. Man, wanted for you guys to pop in here real quick. We'll start first with you, Ronell. What can people expect tomorrow night, 9 p.m.?
Tomorrow night, of course, we're going to cover Black History Month. It's a must because we're bigger than 1 month. So we're going to talk about Black History Month. We're going to do, some celeb talk. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky having a baby and the whirlpool that's created around the world with different celebrities. We're going to talk about Ted Cruz, which you guys just spoke on. Because I'm sick of him, man. I've been sick of him, but this last statement is just ridiculous. Also, I did a kind of a survey on my Facebook with asking people have they ever been catfished. I was watching some catfish, so we're gonna speak about what a couple of my followers and supporters say about their experience with being catfished.
You guys keep it interesting, man. You guys really do keep it interesting over there. I got to tell you, I'm excited to hear that conversation. Ronald, what other things are you guys going to be breaching on tomorrow night on the Factorz TV?
Well, first off, I'm ready to tell my story. I've been catfished, so I'm ready to, I got to tell all. I've been writing this book for a couple of years, so I think I'm ready to tell my story, man. I think I sit on the couch and talk to you VI. So besides that, I'm going to be talking about Brian Flores, which you guys have spoken a little bit about the situation in the NFL where he is suing the NFL and some teams for, basically using racism in a strategic form to keep Black head coaches out of the league. It's kind of weird that we're back at the point of having to sue someone to be recognized. People forget about Colin Kaepernick so fast. He told us the truth and then had to sue him and quietly won $90 million. That was not, they kept that under wraps. And okay, he was right, but let's just pay him and keep going. I'm speaking on that because we dominate that league, we dominate that sport, and at a point in time, this is actually documented. They said our brains weren't big enough to be quarterbacks or head coaches. So I'm speaking on that tomorrow. I'm gonna be very, very in depth with that. I'm also I was given some topics, and so it's kind of some few women have hit me and asking about if a father agrees with having a child or not. Is it up to him to be responsible in certain ways? And it's just a deep topic, but I know a lot of people ask about that and see how I feel about that and want to know what I think on it. I definitely had got probably 3 or 4 messages asking that, and it's sad that we even had those conversations, but it does happen in real life, so we also need to speak on that and kind of spread the knowledge of not just for education wise, but as far as common sense that's not so common, to actually have an emotion and feelings being a Black person. How hard it is to do that, being vulnerable. So we're speaking on a little bit of everything. Us, man, we're going to light it up a little bit, then we're going to dim it down, but we're going to keep the movie right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, 100%. This is the best thing, Trey, is with these young men right here. It's like I was actually talking to somebody about the Factorz the other day, and I said that the Factorz actually reached the final mile in our community. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that we do a pretty good job right here. You know what I'm saying? But there's the final mile. And these guys are very in touch with that. Hey, look, we got to let you guys go. Let me get on wide here, but we'll see. We'll be tuned in for the Factorz TV tomorrow night at 9 p.m.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Before we go, I just want to say real quick, I want to say thank you to everyone who shared our post. We got like 100 and some shares and a lot of great feedback. So I appreciate everyone supporting the Factorz TV, and shout out Converge Media, man. It's going up.
Black
That's
Media
all I can
Matter.
say. It's going up.
There it is.
So good to be with y'all.
We'll talk to you soon.
Oh man, they're talking about some real stuff. And he was talking right there about that vulnerability piece. I just read an article that was on CNN.com about how, there's always this misconception when a Black man says something about being vulnerable. There's this way that the society receives it. And we see it because, Will Smith is, it becomes a meme. Tyrese can't see his daughter, becomes a meme. Same with Kanye West. These ideas that, that it's hard for them to be publicly vulnerable. I'm glad they're going to be breaching that subject.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. It's real important conversations that are happening there. You know what I'm saying, with the Factorz, and it's always entertaining as well. So it makes, sometimes we have these conversations in community, and they're very stern. And here's this, so and so and PhD and community. This man, you know what? It's really for the people and by the people.
Yeah.
All right, next up here on the Morning Update Show. There he is, Brian Callanan. He's a host and moderator over there at the Seattle Channel and also host of Seattle News, Views, and Brews. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Vesa Gordon here with some much needed information about what's happening in our communities when it comes to COVID-19 in 2022. Omicron is actually the latest COVID-19 variant and honestly is hitting our local communities and hospitals pretty hard. You can help out by 1, making sure you are vaccinated, 2, making sure you have your booster, and 3, simply masking up. As we learn more about COVID-19, we're also learning more about how the vaccine works best. A booster shot 2 to 5 months after your COVID-19 vaccine significantly improves protection against COVID and its many variants. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine or a booster, there are free options for transportation and childcare that are available. To learn more about all of your options and where you can get your booster shot, go to kingcounty.gov/COVID/vaccine.
We invite you to be our guest at Disney's Beauty and the Beast. It's a tale as old as time in a brand new production by the Fifth Avenue Theater. Return to the magic of live theater with one of the most enchanting musicals of all time. Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Fifth, January 12th to February 6th. Tickets at fifthavenue.org.
All right, you see it right there, Seattle News, Views, and Brews. Joined right here, right now on the set, Brian Callanan, my good friend, host of Seattle News, Views, and Brews, and also over at the Seattle Channel. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It's great to be here, and thanks for the invite, Omar. Always appreciate it.
This guy always just sounds so good.
I learned about watching you.
Whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just booming, man.
Let it happen.
Yep. All right. So, man, this has been we're now into February. This has been a fast-moving year, and one of the big things that everybody's talking about, at least the last few weeks, is what's going on down in Olympia. I know you've been following that, man. Tell us about it.
I have, and specific to police reform. You could almost look at it as reforming police reform, I suppose. So there were a number of bills passed that were passed last year, more than a dozen of them, as a matter of fact. And what we're talking about here is 2 main points. So this is when officers actually use force and what type of force they can use. So I talked with Representative Jesse Johnson. He's the Democrat from the 30th District down in Federal Way in Des Moines. And he's concerned about this because there's this narrative going on right now that there are people who are anti-cop or pro-cop or whatever else. He's really trying to break that down the middle. He's really trying to get to a point where we can actually listen to each other on this topic, talk about the reforms that are needed, but make sure that police are protected too. So let's listen into a little bit about what Jesse Johnson told me earlier this week.
I think it's really trying to work with our police departments to find more strategies around this without, going to our different silos and saying, they're anti-cop or, defund the police, whatever, we're not going to work with them. And that's not true, especially for me. Like I've said publicly, I don't support defund the police. In fact, when I was on city council, I voted for increased officers in federal way and more training. But I do appreciate accountability. I think we need to have more accountability for unnecessary force, which is what I'm personally trying to accomplish.
So I think this is the big concern here, Omari, talking about this and making sure that we have a discussion among legislators right now, because the issue that we're seeing among police departments across the state is they're saying, wait a minute, we're not going to get involved in that situation where there's a potential behavioral health crisis. There's no crime being committed. We can't be involved there. Or we're not going to go on that chase involving a car chase, whatever else, because we're not sure if we're able to go or not. So I think they're trying to get this right, at least get some clarification for police departments out there and really try to get real about the reform that's in place.
You know what's interesting? And first of all, I want to uplift the fact that you talked to Jesse Johnson.
Yeah.
Right. Because what we've been seeing here on a lot, and it's a very organized campaign where a lot of other media outlets here in Seattle have been sitting down with police departments and they have a very consistent narrative, but no one else is talking to other lawmakers like Jesse Johnson or people in community. So I'm glad that you made that effort and brought that here so people can know that there is more of a totality of the story and also shatter through these people who just want to polarize it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the Black Caucus is a very important part of the Washington State legislature right now, and Jesse Johnson is a very important part of that. And I think having those diverse views is a key piece to this, because this is where we are in 2022, right? We're talking about protests for George Floyd that did not happen all that long ago, and we're already talking about pulling back on reform here. So I think it's important to make sure that that issue is front and center. Jesse Johnson's going to keep it front and center. He just wants to hold police departments accountable. And I got to say, the police departments out there, they want to be held accountable too. I want to be sure that I'm clear about that, because they're just looking for some guidelines, the right guardrails, because for a rank and file officer, they want to be sure they're doing the right thing, because we live in a very litigious society too, and they want to make sure that they're doing something that is right, that is just, and hopefully something that goes with what everybody else wants, which is a just police department, but one that is able to respond to these different problems when they happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And what else do you have coming up?
A lot of different stuff coming up on the podcast tonight. We're actually talking about something with David Croman, who's my co-host here. He had a very interesting piece here about Sound Transit, which is right now working on something with its fare enforcement. So they're saying right now, okay, before the pandemic, maybe a little less than 10% of people were actually avoiding fares, not paying those. And we weren't really, and there was some enforcement going on or whatever else. But with that enforcement, as it's been happening over the past couple of years, they have found that people are getting these fare enforcement officers visiting with them. People are getting these misdemeanors or whatever else for having not paid a fare. Well, guess what? Those people happen to be disproportionately people of color. So Sound Transit is trying to pull back on this and trying to figure out a different way to do it. But the big problem is over the past couple of years, they have seen that maybe 20, 30% of people now are actually avoiding fares. That doesn't mean Sound Transit's going out of business. They're still going to build out to Ballard and West Seattle, but this is a significant part of their revenue here. They need to do something right, because Peter Rogoff, who's the CEO of Sound Transit, who's actually leaving pretty soon, he says this is unsustainable in terms of trying to keep this going when it comes to fares for Sound Transit.
Yeah, it's real interesting. Sound Transit, they always get their money. They just raise taxes.
Yeah, they sure do.
And you know what I'm saying?
I pay them, you pay them. Yeah.
They get their money no matter what. But there were some other people who were coming with different viewpoints around that fare. I pay my fare. I go too. I live down here. I go to the airport a lot, so I pay my fare. But some people were saying that the cost of the law of the enforcement officers, if you flip that into actual free Orca cards for people who can't afford it, then you might flip that right there as in being able to bridge that gap on the people who are avoiding fare. Like I'm not advocating avoiding fare, but I'm just saying if we're going to really deal with the issue, that's something a lot of people in community have brought up to say, well, you guys are spending a lot of money on fare enforcement officers. Get rid of the fare enforcement officers and put that money and give people who need an Orca card.
Right. I'm hoping that'll be the case, that they can figure out some middle ground to get to here. But right now, it just looks like they have an unsustainable program in terms of the dollars that are actually coming in for fares. They're going to be an issue in the years ahead as someone new takes the role that Peter Rogoff has right now as CEO.
Yeah. Anything else?
Just a real quick one. I was talking a little bit about this with Fynniecko too, who's coming up on the show. This whole idea of allowing different businesses to have outdoor cafes or whatever else. The Seattle City Council talking a lot about that this week. They're working to make that into a permanent thing. So I think it could be pretty cool for a lot of businesses out there. I know there's going to be some ways to make sure they do it right, and parking places. I know a lot of people are always adamant about their parking places or whatever else, but they're trying to work out a program right now where they can have this type of system go on in a permanent way. It's a discussion that's going on right now. I think it could be very good for businesses. It's got to work for neighborhoods too.
Now, this is the Safe Streets program, right?
It is the Safe Street. It's sort of I guess an adjunct to the Safe Streets program, meaning you want to make sure that people are driving around safely. And I think that's a piece of it. When you activate these different streets, is the verb that's often used, you get more people in these cafes, you get more people out walking. That would hopefully calm traffic in such a way that fewer people will be out and about. But at the same time, I want to make sure that as more people are out on the street, they're being protected. And that's really what Safe Streets is all about, making sure that we have fewer pedestrian fatalities. And unfortunately, that's not the trend that we've seen recently.
Yeah, and business owners like the outdoor cafe.
They really do.
Everybody that we've talked to, whether you go to Skull, Ballard, or Island Soul in Columbia City, if you talk to either of those guys, I mean, they love the outdoor cafe.
Well, let's set it up out here too. Get the merch going on Pioneer Square. Come on now. Let's see what Converge has going on. You never know.
There it is right there. See, Brian Callanan, tell people how they can keep up with you.
Check me out at Callanan Seattle on Twitter, or make sure you check out Seattle News, Views, and Brews on every podcast platform you can think of. So thanks for listening.
All right. So Seattle News, Views, and Brews tonight, 7 o'clock. Brian Callanan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And thanks to my co-host, David Croman, too, from the Seattle Times. He does great work.
Yeah, no, Croman, man, he's churning them out over there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's see. Next up here, man, we got, I've been knowing this guy's name was knee high. Fynniecko Glover Jr. and Rainier Beach Development Roundtable. He's coming up. Him and Trey Holiday are going to talk about economic development in South Seattle. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable. Hey guys, Besa Gordon here with some much needed information about what's happening in our communities when it comes to COVID-19 in 2022. Omicron is actually the latest COVID-19 variant and honestly is hitting our local communities and hospitals pretty hard. You can help out by 1, making sure you are vaccinated, 2, making sure you have your booster, and 3, simply masking up. As we learn more about COVID-19, we're also learning more about how the vaccine works best. A booster shot 2 to 5 months after your COVID-19 vaccine significantly improves protection against COVID and its many variants. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine or a booster, there are free options for transportation and childcare that are available. To learn more about all of your options and where you can get your booster shot, go to kingcounty.gov/COVID/vaccine.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And joining me right now is my brother from another mother, my guy, Fynniecko Glover Jr. Thank you so much for being with us, Neek.
Man, thank you so much, Trey. Thank you for the invitation to come down and speak about what's going down in Rainier Beach.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I remember you're like, wait a minute, you guys are showcasing the Build the Beach for Us by Us project, which I know you're really familiar with, but there's a lot of other developments that are happening out there, and you are a part of this economic development for Rainier Beach Core. So tell us more about what you guys have going on at this roundtable.
Man, so we got a lot of work coming on, man. So just in Rainier Beach in the next 5 years, we have about 14 new developments that's coming into the area, into the neighborhood. So some of the main priority ones that we're kind of focusing on is Elizabeth Thomas Homes, which is going to be on South Henderson Street, and then we got the Rainier Beach Food Innovation Center that's going to be across the street from the light rail, and that's what Rainier Beach Action Coalition. And then we just started leasing out the Polaris at Rainier Beach, that's right next to the McDonald's on Rainier and South Henderson, South Rainier Street. So
yeah,
that's coming online.
Well, this is stuff that I love hearing about because honestly, I remember some of the beginnings of these projects, particularly RBAC's project with this Food Innovation Center. We, talked about the fact that we still have food deserts, right? Particularly in communities where a lot of Black folks are. And so the idea is that RBAC has said, look, we can do this on our own. We can actually provide a space for people to have, refrigeration. I know it's just huge for a lot of caterers and people that are out there serving community. So they really have dove in deep with, what the community needs. And then they said, we're going to build the facility for it. When you talk about Elizabeth Thomas Homes, are these affordable housing, and who's behind this development?
Yeah, so the Elizabeth Thomas Home is going to be affordable housing. So as you guys probably know, Catholic Community Services, Miss Evelyn Allen, community builder, she purchased that property. It's going to be affordable homes. It's 118 units, 5 stories, and it's going to be coming online. They're hoping to have it completed by May of 2023. So it's coming online pretty soon.
This is for me, again, I love seeing our people be at the helm of development. For many years, even when I was studying urban studies, there was no idea around human-centric design, but that's what community does best, where they are like, we're centering the voices of the people we want to serve when we talk about bringing them involved, getting them involved in the entire development process. And so I love this Elizabeth Thomas Homes coming up. Shout out to Miss Evelyn Allen over there at Catholic Community Services. This is important for our community, but also it's the process. We've talked about how, gentrification and has just really blighted our communities with regard to, the ethnicity and the cultural hubs that we've seen. And these kind of projects really help to build that in. What are some of the work that you're doing specifically as an economic development? Because you're down there in Rainier Beach doing a lot of work, Neek.
Yeah, man. So pretty much my job is to manage all the real estate properties and work with all the small businesses in the neighborhood. So from Rainier and Kenyon all the way to 57th and Waters, where Dre's Lake Route is, that's my district to work with all those small businesses and making sure that we could keep the businesses in the neighborhood as things are coming online, new developments are coming up. So that's my job, is to work with all those real estate developers that's coming into the neighborhood and making sure that we can set aside at least a third of those units to make sure that, people that are already from the community, people of BIPOC or people of low income, can stay in the neighborhood just to be anchored in the neighborhood as well, so they're not getting displaced. Because as we've seen what happened in the Central District, we want to do some preventative measures to halt that process.
Well, I gotta say, it's a great thing because you're somebody who really comes with a passion. Tell folks a little bit about your background and what got you qualified to be like, yeah, I can be an anchor here to guide our small businesses, but also to really work on the other side with these developers.
Yeah, so just a little bit about myself. I'm just a community builder, a young professional. Started off with yourself at King County Equity now. So, we put that organization together and founded that organization. And then just doing a lot of work with Africa Town, just centering around building the community, working with my elders, Y King, Baba Amari, yourself, Isaac Joy, Mr. Gregory Davis, and just learning, allowing the elders to instill and allow me to test the waters and just try to figure out. And that's kind of just what led me to the opportunity. And now I'm just going to be furthering my education in city and regional planning at a HBCU, Alabama A&M, to bring back my genius and my excellence to my community to continue doing the work.
You know what, Nick, you are doing it, and you make us all so proud. All the folks that you mentioned, I know, look to you now as an emerging, amazing leader. And again, I think it takes lived experience oftentimes to be able to talk across the aisle, because it's different languages you're having when you're embedding community, but you're bringing that community insight to real estate developers so they understand community needs. And you've been sharing a lot of resources with me over the time. You're like, hey, this is going on, this pop up over here, this market. Mm-hmm. One thing that I think is really unique about the corridor in Rainier Beach is it's very diverse. Yes. You have a lot of small businesses that are African owned, people from East and West Africa. You have a lot of folks that are Black. You have Filipino. You have just an eclectic array of business owners you're probably working with. Mm-hmm. How are you being intentional in terms of that relationship building? Because we always talk about that being foundational in our approach to community work. How have you been able to really embed yourself in this community and allow these business owners to be able to respect you, but also build that relationship where they know they can trust you to, hold their best interest as you have these other conversations?
Yeah. I think one of the best ways that I've been able to interact with the small business owners is just going in person, just understanding like their needs, doing needs assessments, and just touching base and following up. It's just relationship building, as we already do, back in our community. It's just say, hey, how you doing? Is there anything that you need? How can I best support you? And just having that consistent follow-up. And then, inviting them out to community events. Our Rainier Beach has the clean crew that goes out. So having businesses participate in some of those events that they're doing. We have the Boo Bash, inviting business owners to participate in community events that support youth and young adults into the neighborhood. Working with Miss Kathy Wilmore with the Beautiful Safe Place for Youth and doing mural projects. So inviting just businesses to come out and just be a part of something that's bigger than what their little silo or their small business is, and making it actually a thriving community.
Yeah, that's really part of it. It's about these interconnections. And I agree with you 100% that it's necessary when we talk about building community. So I really appreciate you bringing that insight. Before I let you go, though, we're going to have people figure out how they can get in contact with you. But, you also got this amazing multi-million-dollar project with the Build the Beach for Us, by Us, this Rainier Beach redevelopment, and the intentionality of Leidig, the construction company that really is taking this on as the general contractor. They are being so specific about reaching out to community, about connecting with young people, getting them into these apprenticeship programs and opportunities. How does it make you feel as somebody who's, living out there, who really can now take pride in the community being involved in such a huge redevelopment?
It's an honor. I would say, because before I even getting into community work, I was an electrician apprentice, right? And what kind of took me out of that was just the misrepresentation of my people in that industry. And now that you're seeing more of the intentionality of these construction companies going out and looking and representing BIPOC communities and inviting youth to learn a little bit more about the opportunities that they have to expand themselves to potentially make over six figures, and sometimes we don't necessarily get the opportunity to see that. So having them come into the community, invest into the communities, bring dollars into the communities, and just be a part of the community has been a blessing. It has been an honor to work with Leidig and just learn more about the project. And Rainier Beach High School is going to be one of the state-of-the-art developments that's coming online.
Yeah, it really will. Oh my gosh, Nick, thank you so much for being with us and for bringing us more insight into the amazing work that's happening out there in Rainier Beach. If people want to connect with the Rainier Beach Economic Development Roundtable, how do they do that? How do they connect with you and the work you're doing?
So they could just either call Rainier Beach Action Coalition. They're the main point of contact. They could follow me on Twitter at Fynniecko J, or they could just follow me on Instagram at Nifty Neek. And we'll be able to connect and continue to build the collaboration and the corridor all around the city. We're trying to work on building the South End through the CD, so continue to invest in our community. And that's one of the things that we're proud to bring. And I also want to highlight another thing too. Within these new developments in Rainier Beach, we actually have helped 5 Black business purchase their own commercial spaces. Wow. So now they have we have anchor projects in Rainier Beach that own their own commercial spaces, just like Northwest Tap Connection. They just bought out their commercial spaces in one of the new developments, and it's an 11,000 square foot shell. Empowering Youth and Families just bought their commercial spaces for $4 million in the new development, Flourish Rainier. We got Northwest Black Pioneers and Mars Academy in 6 commercial spaces in the Polaris at Rainier Beach. And then we have the Rainier Beach Food Innovation Center, and Fathers and Sons Together. Miss Kathy Wilmore is going to be in that commercial space at Elizabeth Thomas Home. So we've been making sure our community is anchored in Rainier Beach and helping them get prepared for the new things that's going to be coming online, the new anticipation of residents coming into the neighborhood. So those are the things that we've been trying to make intentional when we're having these developers come into our neighborhood.
Oh, Neek, that is an amazing report back that you just gave, because we've done work with FAST. We understand the anchor that they already create when you talk about Northwest Tap Connection, decades of being in community. And this is amazing that people are really being able to take advantage of these opportunities that oftentimes historically they haven't been. So thank you so much for your work. And thank you again for coming on to the Morning Update show today. You just blessed my heart. I tell you, I'm so proud of you. And publicly, I got to tell you that, because I've watched you go from a young organizer, somebody who's just super passionate about community, to now taking it into something that is helping businesses in this regard and helping residents. Neek, you're doing the work. I salute you, my brother.
Man, thank you, big sis. I appreciate all the work, and I love you too.
Oh my gosh. So much love right here in the studio. Black media matters. And clearly the work that Fynniecko Glover Jr. is doing also matters. I'm so glad he was able to report back. After this short break, I get to bring my co-host with the most, Big O, back onto the set. Stay tuned. You're watching the Morning Update show.
Hey y'all, T-Dub here, letting you know about another art funding opportunity. For culture recovery funding for individuals is available now, and here's what you need to know to apply. Are you a cultural producer who has been impacted by the pandemic? If you answered yes, but what is a cultural producer? Well, you are a cultural producer if your work, paid or unpaid, is dedicated to creating cultural experiences in any discipline or at any stage of your career. Some examples include exhibit designers, museums educations, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, history researchers, artists, of course, and more. And understanding that grant language can sometimes feel exclusive to specific people, using terms like cultural producer is one of the ways For Culture seeks to broaden its scope of applicants. In other words, this funding is for you. And look, the application fatigue is real. I get it, they get it. But the For Culture staff is here to walk you through it. They have grants from $1,000 to $12,000, so please don't miss out. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and I gotta say, what an amazing discussion there with young Fynniecko Glover Jr. It's so great to hear about all of these amazing developments, but not just people that are tenants in spaces. Shout out to those opportunities too, but people owning these commercial spaces, man. Love hearing this uplifting energy.
Yeah, I think the best part about it is this boy's intentional. This organization, they're out there. This is what you see. Like Fynniecko lives this.
Yeah.
Like he lives this, and he's been an entrepreneur himself since as long as I've known him. You know what I'm saying? And this is just when you get somebody with the ambition and the intentionality of Fynniecko, and you mix him in with community groups that can kind of train him up and everything else. You turn him loose on community, and this is the result that you're seeing.
Come on, man. And it just makes me so proud to know this brother, but to also experience his growth in community. Like you said, the intentionality is key. And we talk about that from a wide variety of perspectives. So I love seeing this vibrancy happening in the Rainier Beach corridor. It makes me really excited because, again, we're seeing it when we talk to Mike about South Seattle. There's intentionality there. When we talk about all the things happening in the Central District, I'm really getting revived, man, because I love seeing that there's people that not only are they caring, they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're putting their time and energy to make it happen. The actualization of these dreams and goals that people have had in community for a long time, we're seeing it take place. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hey, I got something right here. I saw this on Good Morning America, and civil rights icon and journalist Ida B. Wells, right? Her great-granddaughter has published a book about her life, and this was featured here. This is Good Morning America.
Growing up in my family, knowing that my great-grandmother was Ida B. Wells was definitely unique compared to most of my friends. The way that the book, Ida B. Wells' Voice of Truth, came about is that I wrote an article for a magazine that was geared towards a younger audience. So the key points of her life or her accomplishments are in the book, which was that she was a journalist who wrote about freedom, justice, and equality. She wrote about the injustices, the domestic terrorism actually that was happening during her time. She also was involved in the suffrage movement. She founded several organizations to address the issues of her time. What inspires me about my great-grandmother, she was true to herself through and through throughout the course of her entire life. She was willing to stand alone when she needed to. One of the things that I hope happens as a result of Ida B. Wells' Voice of Truth is that people will understand that the struggle for civil rights and equality and justice for African Americans started before the 1960s. My great-grandmother was doing most of her work that she's really famous for in the 1880s and 1890s. People need to understand that the people of the 1960s stood on shoulders, and one of the shoulders that they stood on was my great-grandmother. I think it's important for people to understand that my great-grandmother, as well as many other historical figures who are considered icons and inspirations, to also understand they were human. It's important, especially for young people, to really understand that these people had the same emotions, the same questioning of themselves as they do. And so that makes it relatable. Children at a very young age understand the concepts that my great-grandmother was working towards, which is fairness and truth and justice.
Wow, this is amazing. And every time we can spotlight the work of folks like Ida B. Wells, I get really inspired, because it is such a long legacy when we talk about it. Even when I think about this wall and I come here every day and I see all of this Black excellence, I mean, she's absolutely right. There was so much work being done in the 1800s around fairness, around civil rights, before it was coined civil rights. I love that she points that out there. Very true. Long legacy here of people fighting for it.
Yeah, and a long legacy of Black journalistic excellence as well. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's what you pointed out there was like in the 60s, people tend to think that that's where the story started for the fight for civil rights in America, and unfortunately, this fight's been going on for a very long time.
Yeah, and we can also take it back to the work of, folks like Harriet Tubman. I mean, we think about the enslaved movement and the fact that there were so many people. You have a Nat Turner who led a huge revolt because, again, they were saying this is not fair. This is not right. I'm not being treated equally.
Not human.
It's not exactly. It's not human. It's inhumane. These ideas are definitely long-standing, and they go from the inception of this country. And so sometimes we don't take it back that far, but her even saying that and talking about her great grandmother's work in the late 1800s, I agree that it goes back even further than that. Really, the inception of this country, there's always been this leg of unfairness and inhumane activity that has really plagued particularly Black Americans, but also the indigenous. We can start right there. So, I mean, it's long.
All right. Switching gears here. We're getting ready to get out of here. Friday is Converge Media Night there at McCall Hall, Romeo and Juliet. And you got tickets for people.
Yes, we still have some tickets that have gone unclaimed. If you guys are looking to join me on Friday at Romeo and Juliet, you guys please email me TRAE@whereweconverge.com. That's Trey@whereweconverge.com. And I'm looking forward to coming with you all. I know there's several folks that have emailed already, but we still have some tickets available and looking forward to fill those slots and fill those seats and also enjoy this amazing show. I mean, you know, when we are able to interview cast members and they talk about the beauty of dance and the choreography and how they put the characteristics and these scenes between each character embodied in their dance moves, I'm telling you, I know that we'll be up for a treat on Friday. So please email me, Trey @whereweconverge.com so that you guys can be in the seats with me.
All right, good stuff. Quick reminder, too, that our fam bam, Truly Unruly, the True Fonts, Marcus and Jessica Trufant, they're going to be there at Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club Valentine's Day. All right, we'll put a link in the comments there. Doing a live show out there in Tacoma at the Comedy Club. Tomorrow, go through this. So tomorrow we got a full house tomorrow as well. First up tomorrow, we have Julia Jesse. Julia is going to be here, co-host of Clapback Culture. And man, I got a feeling we're going to have a great conversation with Julia. We might need to play that same Ted Cruz clip for Julia. Then, of course, it's the Rewind with Besa. Besa is going to be checking in with all the everything in the world of pop culture, also local events. And then somebody from around your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited that Jimmy will be able to join us. We're going to be talking about participatory budgeting with Jimmy Brown. He's doing some amazing work out there in Federal Way, but this is this participatory budgeting process that's for unincorporated areas of King County. You guys, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good stuff, man. It's right at the top of the hour, Trey Holiday. Any last words before we get out of here?
Oh, always see yourself as a part of the solution. Clearly, Fynniecko Glover Jr. has done just that and brought his passion into community in a way that's going to be impactful for all the folks out there in Rainier Beach area. Be inspired. You guys can do it too.
Yeah, that's the truth. Real deal. All right. What we're going to do right now is we're going to leave you with Shayna Shepherd singing Hope. And just this reminder, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. A lazy shoes and love is a love that's earned. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to hiding the holes. This old world got new tricks and I'm in the thick of it. This I swear I'm already sick of it. At least I found the antidote. Oh. no one is a shadow. I know no one is a shadow. I know